We've been recently talking about new players to WoW, right? And the importance of WoW being friendly to new players, being something that a new player could pick up and start playing. And I talked about, I'll put a link in the description of this video. I talked about my solution recently for what I think would be required for new players to actually get in and enjoy the game, right? For new players to pick up WoW and be able to play it. And I talked about this whole mentorship program where I thought it'd be the best way. It'd be a merging of mentorship and the recruit a friend program. That'd be the best way. But maybe just showing them this video would be the best way. World of Warcraft for Dummies by Nixxiom. Let's check this out. Supposedly this is the best guide for a new WoW player to teach them how to get into WoW. Let's see what he has to say.
So, you want to know what all the fuss is with World of Warcraft? Or perhaps you used to play before you hung up your tabard for greener pastures and are now looking to get back into the game. Well, boy, do I have a video just for you. Here is the fast and easy beginner's guide to World of Warcraft. Over the last few years, you've probably heard the words Classic WoW and Retail WoW thrown around online and are wondering what it all means. Retail WoW is the version of the game that has been running since 2004 and has been getting DLC expansions and new content ever since. The game mostly relies on max level content and is focused on solo, raiding, and collection content. Most of the graphics of the game have been updated to HD, and there's also the transmog and outfit system to let you have your character look as badass as you want.
I had a new player comment on one of my YouTube videos recently asking how transmog works. I don't think that's explained very well in the game in terms of guiding players on how to do transmog. I tried to comment back just telling him to talk to a guard in one of the main hub cities and, you know, it'll lead him to transmog, a place to transmog, which is usually done by ethereals, these cloudy looking people. But it was actually kind of hard to explain. I think the game needs to do a better job of explaining what transmog is.
The biggest communities on retail servers tend to be PvE raiders, role players, and solo cosmetic collectors. If you love overcoming a complex technical challenge with your friends, then raiding in retail is perfect for you. If you want to get immersed in a character and roleplay in a fantasy world just like in Dungeons & Dragons, then retail has the biggest roleplay communities waiting for you. You big nerd. And if you love working towards long-term goals, or you want a relaxing time running through old content just to make your character look perfect, then Retail's transmog and mount collecting is probably going to be your cup of tea. Classic WoW was released in 2019 and is as close as can be to the original version of the game from 2004. And it has released the first 2 expansions from the game's classic era, hence the name. It plays very differently from Retail. Your main time sink will be probably in the leveling journey rather than the end game. It has slower
Classic WoW is all about leveling.
More like a D&D fantasy adventure.
Everyone's so good at the game at this point that end game Classic WoW is really it's just silly. People clear that shit in 20 seconds. So Classic WoW is all about hardcore mode, leveling. The leveling experience in Classic WoW is what Classic WoW is all about, essentially.
Like an old RPG. There is no transmog and little cosmetic collection aside from mounts. The main focus of achievement and goals is upgrading your gear and getting titles.
Yeah, just getting best in slot everything.
Leveling can be done solo, but it is easier if you group with other players. The biggest communities are PvE raiders, levelers, and PvPers, with a decent-sized roleplay community on the US realms. Classic is perfect if you want a more casual and mechanically simple raiding experience.
Who would think Classic would be casual?
Also, if you want to have a fantasy RPG adventure and progress your character slowly through the world. It's also good if you want a gear-based balanced PvP experience. Or, of course, if you want to just RP in a world with more focused lore and a tighter community, then Classic WoW is where you want to go. Basic lore. Don't worry, I'm not an expert. I won't keep you long. World of Warcraft has 2 factions, the Horde and the Alliance. The Horde are bestial invaders, outcasts, and refugees who have banded together in order to survive and create a new society. The races with the most focus and lore tend to be the Orcs, the Undead, the Tauren, and the Blood Elves. But don't worry, there's plenty of dungeons with trolls in them. The Alliance is a centuries-old pact between human kingdoms that has grown to encompass much of the world, as well as several other races. This faction is your classic fantasy knights and castles. Its main focus being on the humans, the night elves, and the dwarves. But the other races certainly get their time to shine. The Alliance is also the faction with gnomes. I'll leave it up to you what you do with that knowledge. Now, the world itself is called Azeroth and contains multiple continents. The original focus, however, was on just two, Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms. Kalimdor is a wild continent, inhabited in the south by the Orcs, Taurens, and Trolls, and in the north by the Night Elves. In this land, the factions are fighting over natural...
Well, not really the Night Elves anymore. I mean, yeah, there's Night Elf zones, but if you join WoW, that you'll notice the Night Elf city has kind of been charred to a crisp. It happened.
Resources and against the wilderness.
He only named the important
Eastern
races.
Kingdoms, on the other hand, is an ancient and heavily settled land. The south is controlled by the humans and dwarves, and the north by the undead and the blood elves of the Horde. Here, the factions are fighting over land, heritage, and old grudges. Now, of course, there are other more nefarious, non-playable factions on these continents, but I'll let you discover them. Classes and roles. Classes in WoW are focused character types, like the classes in D&D. Subclasses are called specializations, or specs.
You pick your class, and then within your class, you pick your spec.
Focus of your progression.
Death Knight is the best class. Side note.
As you level up. Classic allows cross specs, but Retail does not. However, Retail has class-based talents alongside your spec progression. The classes in the game are as follows.
What the hell's going on here?
Warriors are plate-wearing knights and barbarians that specialize in melee combat. They can damage or they can tank. Mages are your archetypal wizard class, with fire, ice, and arcane abilities. They also have many utilities that can help you with leveling. The original glass cannon. Rogues are your stealth class. They have a sort of pirate swashbuckler spec, a potion-using assassin spec, and then a sort of ninja spec. You know, they're sneaky fellas. They're the sneaky fella class. Priests are your holy healers, with a spec that allows them to get in touch with their dark side and deal damage as a fallen shadow priest. Paladins are a mix of warriors and priests, perfect for the player that wants to live the Crusader fantasy.
FYI, if you play Classic, you can only be a paladin if you're on the Alliance.
They can heal, damage, and tank. Hunters mainly focus on range combat using guns and bows, but they can also tame beasts to fight for them. And in Retail, they actually have a melee spec. That would be the Beastmaster.
Hunters are the original class that most people played because they wanted to be Legolas from Lord of the Rings. AKA, that's how I played the game at first.
Shamans are totem-wielding masters of the elements. They can be healers, range damage, and melee damage. And with their utility skills, many would consider them the best support class in the game. Warlocks are dark wizards who can summon demons to their command, curse and drain the life from their enemies, or rain down hellfire on all who oppose them. Why wouldn't you?
You want to be somebody who gets invited to every raid no matter how shitty you are? Play a Warlock.
Play one. Druids are shapeshifters who take the form of animals to fight. They have the most specs and can be a feline stealth DPS, a bear tank, a celestial caster, or use nature to heal. Death Knights are fallen heroes, resurrected by the Lich King and later freed from his grasp. Now undead, they wield necrotic powers to DPS, summon undead, inflict plagues, and tank. Now, up until this point, we've mentioned the classic classes, but Retail actually has 3 more. They are the Monk, who uses his fists and spirit to heal, DPS, and tank, and they're extremely mobile. The Demon Hunter, who unlocks a demon form to wreak havoc upon his enemies.
The emo class.
They can tank and DPS, and they are currently the only class who can see invisible players and double jump, which is more fun than you might think. And finally, we have the new Evoker class in Dragonflight, who is a half-dragon that uses fire breathing and flying to fight. Where to start? Now that you know the game, the world, and the classes, where do you begin?
Okay, just FYI for new players. If you are a new player, this building, depending on what server you pick, could be for different things. On all servers, except one, this is just your average inn. This is known as Lion's Pride Inn in Elwyn Forest. You can go in here, make your hearthstone here, you know, repair, you know, catch up on some rest, maybe buy some food. If you decide to play on Moonguard, this place is used for a completely different reason. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're going to have to experience it for yourself. Just know you're going to leave sticky, and you're going to leave a bit stretched out. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to leave it right there for you. But just know, if you play on Moonguard, this place is used for other things.
Well, in Classic, you will be put into a starting zone based on the race you chose. The experience at the start may seem linear, but at any level you'll have a plethora of zones to explore. And the game heavily rewards exploration and discovery. In retail, all of the zones are scaled. So instead of a journey through zones of a specific level, you can quest anywhere in the world from level 1. Think of it as a sandbox with less sand. Unless you like desert zones, there's plenty of those. The leveling experience in Classic is often considered better and more focused than retail.
I think it is better.
You will find more players.
Honestly, I liked zones that were just, you know, certain level ranges. I feel like scaling kind of took away some of the scariness of the game. Like, there was a cool thing about venturing into a zone before you were the right level to go in there, and, like, mobs being able to just destroy you, and you being all afraid, and you have to you're like, oh, shit, where am I? There's a lot of, you know, this is a dark, you know, you go into Darkshire for the first time, you're like, oh, my God, what's going on here? Everything's such high level, I got to get out of here. Or venturing into a zone, you know, covered in lava. You're like, holy crap, what's going on here? I shouldn't be here, and every mob is extra dangerous. Level scaling kind of changed that. Where now this zone is always kind of adapted to your level, which is
leveling
part of the reason why people consider Classic
I also
leveling
recommend
better.
leveling in Classic because I enjoy the challenge, but also that I'm old and I like the slower pace. But of course, it's up to you if that's the gameplay you're looking for. I've also been told that creating an idea and a backstory behind your character can help you get immersed in the world.
Yeah.
Whether it's as simple as Orknar the Barbarian, who loves to fight and dreams of dying for the Horde, or Eldasar the Night Elf Druid, who seeks knowledge and to restore the balance of the world. Creating a story for your character can help you get invested.
Or Samiccus, the Death Knight, bringer of plagues and blood. The unkillable, the edgelord. Samiccus was a great warrior of the Alliance who fell in battle against the Scourge and the Lich King. Was raised again because the Lich King realized what a powerful combatant he was. And once he returned to the Alliance, he has tanked for the rest of his life, protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Samiccus.
Invested in your journey,
What a beast.
And believe me, it's gonna be a long one.
God bless.
Or you can just go and bludgeon kobolds with a hammer. Goals!
That too.
Now that you know where to start, you need a destination to shoot for. It's good to have goals. While you'll certainly be forging your own path, common goals of players include becoming a raider and joining a guild.
Yeah.
Earning a PvP title or tabard, completing all the quests, and
Goals are
getting the
good.
Lore Master title, creating
Keystone
a roleplay
Master.
character through your journey, or exploring every corner of the map. These are just some common examples,
Cleared
but
out
don't
heroic.
worry, I'm sure you'll find your own path as you journey across Azeroth. But if you're looking for others to join you in World of Warcraft, then I suggest joining our community Discord server to get help and to find people
That's right.
to play with. Well,
joining
lads,
our stream.
That brings us to the
There you
end
go.
of this simple guide. Until next time, good luck and take it easy.
This was actually a surprisingly good guide. I thought this was going to be more comical, but this is actually a freaking good guide. Yeah, so if you're a new player, check it out, and the link will be below my video here. It's a good one. It's a good one for new players. New players, you know, how do I describe what new players are to WoW? I don't know, I guess you could say old players are like the, you know, we're the sack. We're the sack. We've kind of aged, you know, a little bit, but we're still here. We're still vital to the game. But new players, they're kind of the blood, you know, the lifeblood. And in order to be able to continue to get up, you're gonna need some new players, right? You're gonna need some of that lifeblood. Yeah, we're watching one. That's right. That's right. You're watching a good old sack right here. Yeah, Tundra Freeze, a once great hero of Silver Moon, slayed by the Lich King and risen to the death to fight for him. Yes, once broke free, joined the Alliance to fight again. That's right.